Suspicious activity suspected in burnt-out St. Elizabeth aircraft probe. A probe into the circumstances surrounding the discovery of a burnt-out plane in Elim, St. Elizabeth now includes a theory that the aircraft might have been involved in suspicious activity. A reliable source told reporters that the suspicion is based on preliminary investigations, which suggests that the plane might have landed and experienced difficulty taking off on Friday night. The source also mentioned that it believed that cargo was removed from the plane and that it was possibly set ablaze. It is believed that a road near a swamp was used as a runway for the aircraft.
Sometime after 7 p.m. on Friday night, we were alerted to the information that a plane may have experienced some amount of difficulty and went down somewhere in the marsh area of Braze River. An immediate search and rescue operation was launched. The various agencies were contacted, to include the fire brigade and the military. It took about 3 hours, where the wreckage of what appeared to be a 2-engine plane was found in this area. The aircraft was fully burnt, and there's an active investigation ongoing. No person was found, no other items except for the burnt remains of the plane. Therefore, like I said, this investigation will expand beyond the St. Elizabeth Police. We have already made contact with other agencies to determine the origin of the aircraft, as also to broaden the investigation to try and establish why this aircraft would have been here. The investigation is active at this time, and therefore will allow the various agencies and the police to conduct a full and thorough investigation before we can make any other pronouncements surrounding this incident. We are not sure as to whether or not it was a difficulty the pilot experienced, or whether or not there was an attempt to land it in this area. There is certainly a history surrounding this particular area. There are a number of theories floating around, one of which is that the plane was attempting to land. And so we will allow the experts and the various forensic persons to do their checks and their investigations, and then a more conclusive determination can be made.
Man shot dead at bar in Perth, Manchester. A man was shot dead by a gunman at a bar in Perth, Manchester on Friday night. Police identified the deceased as O'Neill Henry, also known as Pasha, a farmer from Top Coffee Grove district near Poros. According to reports, Henry was among patrons at a bar around 9:30 p.m. when gunmen opened fire, hitting him multiple times. Henry was subsequently found suffering from gunshot wounds on the steps of the entrance of the bar. Since the start of the new year, Manchester has recorded 3 murders. A taxi operator died on Wednesday from injuries sustained after being beaten in the head during a domestic dispute in Cocoa, Manchester on Tuesday. St. James records 2nd murder of the year. Unknown assailant shot and killed a man in downtown Montego-based St. James on Friday morning. The deceased has been identified as 25-year-old Shaquem Lindsay, otherwise called Tino, of a shantytown address in Paradise Norwood in the parish. Lindsay is the 2nd person to be murdered in St. James since the start of the year. According to the police, Lindsay was killed along St. James Street about 4 a.m. Citizens reported they heard explosions and alerted the police. Upon the arrival of the lawmen, Lindsay was seen on his back with gunshot wounds to the upper body. He was transported to hospital where he died on arrival. St. James recorded the most murders of all parishes during 2023. On Wednesday, a mechanic was gunned down in the parish. 30 million drug bust. The seizure of 13 pounds of cocaine in a major bus at a house operated as a drug base in the remote St. Elizabeth community north of Junction has sparked concerns that the parish could experience an increase in violent crimes. The cocaine, worth an estimated 28 million, as well as 222 pounds of ganja, valued at 2.2 million, more than 1 million in cash, and a car were confiscated by narcotics police at the house on Thursday night. Reporters were told that a man ran from the house and escaped. According to one law enforcer, the presence of the cocaine is worrying as it spells trouble. St. Elizabeth has had a number of drug seizures, largely marijuana, but there are lots of ganja fees in the parish. Last year, thousands of pounds of ganjas were destroyed, the source said. In terms of cocaine, since the middle of last year, there hasn't been any seizure of cocaine. Anywhere cocaine is, there's always guns and gangs. Now, to have this white powder in the parish, it spells trouble, the source said, adding that cocaine compounds already deadly presence of gun, gangs and ganja in St. Elizabeth. This is of concern to us as law enforcement officers. Cocaine in the parish could lead to other violent crimes. Whatever the quantity it is, it has serious implications, the source said. The narcotics police have named Cetron Simmet, a resident of Warminster District, as a person of interest in relation to the drug seizure. They have asked him to report to the Narcotics Area 3 office on the Carteret Road in Mandeville by 10 a.m. on Saturday. Several men named as persons of interest by St. James Police. The St. James Police have listed several men as persons of interest in major crimes including murders and shootings. Being sought are Nicardo Palmer, otherwise called Cyrus, Jordan Wright, otherwise called JT, Kemar McKenzie, otherwise called Tupac, Deanna White, otherwise called Hawk, a man known only as Titus, a man known only as Alicia, a man known only as Kino, Jeremy Shelton, otherwise called J-Man, Raymond Campbell, otherwise called Bertz, Javier Foster, otherwise called Fred, a man known only as Sparrow, a man known only as Big Kirk or Kirk. The individuals are asked to report immediately to the Montego Bay Criminal Investigations Branch. The St. James Police are reassuring the public that all information shared will be handled with the utmost confidentiality. Anyone with information that can assist with the investigation is asked to contact Crime Stop at 311, NIB tip line at 811 or the nearest police station. Greenville resident succumbs 2 days later after drive-by shooting. A man succumbed to gunshot wounds at hospital on Friday afternoon, 2 days after he was injured in a drive-by shooting in the troubled community of Greenville on the outskirts of Mandeville in Manchester. Police sources named the deceased as Richard Levy, otherwise called Weedy, said to have been in his late 50s. The victim was a resident of 14th Street in Greenville. Reports are that about 7 p.m., the victim was sitting on a wall at the entrance of Greenville across from a gas station when gunmen traveling in a motor car opened fire on him. He was hit multiple times and taken to hospital, where he was admitted in critical condition. He later died. There was a strong security presence in the community on Wednesday night following the incident. Greenville, located just a mile west of Mandeville Town Center, has been affected by crimes including murders over the years, resulting in curfews and lockdowns on entertainment events in the community. Reunited. 2 days after it was reported the disappearance of 19-year-old Christmar C.J. Joseph, he was reunited with his mother after being found safe and sound in Brownstone, St. Anne, more than 45 miles from his rural St. Andrew home. On January 2nd, it was published as a news of C.J.'s story he had been missing for 8 days, as his mother, Estelita Cunningham, had last seen him about 11:30 p.m. on Christmas Day at a shop in their small Lacey district near Stony Hill, St. Andrew. The mother had been extremely worried for her son as he is schizophrenic. Cunningham had told reporters that due to his illness, CJ had wandered off before, but would be gone for 2 or 3 days at a time, but never for so long as 8 days. However, her fears were allayed on Tuesday when she received a call from Carolyn Needham, the Good Samaritan who had been caring for CJ since he reached out for her assistance 3 days after Christmas Day, the very day he was reported missing. Cunningham could not contain her joy as she heaped praises on God and Needham for helping her to locate her son. She also thanked reporters for its role in reuniting her with her son. The grateful mother said that when Needham contacted her on Tuesday to let her know her son was safe, she asked to speak to CJ on the woman's phone. According to Cunningham, when she heard CJ said "Mommy," she was beside herself with elation. She said she asked her son what he was doing so far from home, and he said he had lost his way. But the expectation of seeing CJ again was delayed on Tuesday, as she had difficulty getting transportation to St. Anne. She said a taximan was charging her $20,000 for her transit, which she could not afford. She eventually secured transportation via the help of people from her community, and the reunion happened sometime after 6 p.m. on Wednesday. It was a teary-eyed yet joyous affair as Cunningham Tete embraced her son 9 days after she last saw him and 2 days before his birthday on January 5th. Needham, who stayed with CJ until his mother arrived, told reporters that she immediately took him under her care after he approached her, saying that he was weak and hungry. She said she bought him a box of food and a cup of tea and continued to care for him in the ensuing days after providing him with clothing and toiletries. Needham said while CJ was mainly staying on the street by a market, she also took him home on 3 occasions so that he could have a shower. The 59-year-old Needham said she cared for CJ and protected him as if he was her grandson. She even told people that he was her grandson to ensure that he would not be harmed. "Him drop in good hands," said Needham, as she told reporters that she quickly realized that him head go and come. According to Needham, she quickly grew fond of CJ and was prepared to take him in. She said, however, discouraged from doing so by people she confided in, who reasoned that she did not know his background or his tendencies. Needham noted, however, that she was overjoyed when someone informed her on Tuesday that they have seen the news with CJ in the papers. She said she immediately brought a copy of the paper and retrieved the number the family had put in the public to call her. CJ's mother said she is extremely grateful to Needham, who did not hesitate to continue to care for her son from another day as she sorted out her transportation issues. Needham had taken CJ to Bronson Police Station to await his mother's arrival on Tuesday. "This lady is a blessing. She was sent from God," Cunningham said, saying she wishes she could repay her for her very kind gesture. Cunningham said she would now take her son to his doctor so that he can resume taking his medication. She also called on the government to provide her with support for her son, noting that she had reached out for help before but was unsuccessful. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.